Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Sherman Canapp here with Canine Longevity and also with the Athletic Dog. And we have Willy Good Dog with us today and really excited to bring this educational segment. We had a little mishap where we think we may have tweaked our knee. We call it the stifle on a dog. And we're going to be hearing about what happened, where we are right now, kind of discussing the diagnostics that have been performed and the overall plan. So this is really an educational segment, not only for other dog owners and trainers out there, but also for anyone in the veterinary field as well, because these injuries are common, but the way that Willy is presenting has a little twist. And so I want to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on and what all your options are. Because again, it's all about motion is medicine. We need to be able to keep Willy moving, active, happy, healthy, long term. And dealing with this knee situation is going to be, one of the most important priorities we have right now. So thank you so much for joining us, and really excited to see if I can help in any way.
Yeah, this is Chris Elishan, Willy Good Dog's dad. We have a channel. My wife and I, Heather, runs a channel. This is official Willy Good Dog. He's very lovable, as you can see. He is a 6-year-old border Aussie. His mom was a Australian Shepherd. His dad was a border collie. So he was a rescue from South Carolina, farm dog. His mom and dad were both worked on the farm up in South Carolina. So my wife went up there to pick him up when she found this breed. We had this breed before in the past, and it's been amazing. And him and I are the daily workout guys here in Florida, where Willy does all kinds of sports and activities with me on a daily basis. Okay, good boy.
So what kind of workouts do you guys do? Are you hiking? Are you jogging? What do you play soccer?
So we do a lot. So first thing you do every morning, wake up, we start with stretching. So Willy we put the mat down and do some stretching together, believe it or not. Then I go out and you do some boxing, some running, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, but he always with the activity with me. If I'm out boxing, he'll sit next to me and he'll jump up on little platforms and just do little things. He always wants to be active with me no matter what, doing something. If I'm jogging around the yard or jogging on the road, he's on a leash with me, or he's going to different obstacles. We have some property, Callie does some obstacles as well.
That's perfect. So just like you, he does a warm-up, he does his routine, and then it sounds like you guys do some stretching afterwards. This is like the perfect athletic, regime that you guys have. Talk to me a little bit about supplements.
Well, I do take a daily supplement to help support my joints. And apparently, when you're an elite athlete like me, maintenance is important. I like to think of it as keeping my suspension system in top shape.
Yeah, he's currently on Dr. Pohl's diet. So we represent Dr. Pohl's brand for all the food, and they provide supplements and treats for us. We get treats. Nature Vet, we've done a lot of Nature Vet stuff as well. But generally, he's just on a good diet. He eats. We have him eating right now a little bit in the morning. After a workout, we usually fast in the morning, eat around 9 or 10. And then he eats dinner. He's scheduled his dinner time. He likes to eat. He likes to eat every day at 5 o'clock. He sits up on the table like he's ready to eat his dinner. And we give him a bowl of food and supplement it with some wet food as well with Dr. Pohl.
Perfect. And supplement-wise, your glucosamines, omega-3s, is he currently taking any of those supplements as well?
He's on glucosamine. Yes, he has the glucosamine now. We're giving to him, I believe, once a day. My wife is doing.
Okay, perfect. No other supplements at this point. So we'll talk about, we're definitely going to talk about, not only supplements for the injury for sure, but supplements for aging as well. Because again, as just like you and I, there are certain supplements we should be taking, especially as we age. Same with these guys as well. So if you can take us back now, so a little bit about, the injury. Were you seeing anything even before that? Were we starting to slow down? Were there any signs of limping, kind of sitting odd? And then just kind of walk me through, if you would, what you saw.
Yeah. So Will, again, we work out 6 to 7 days a week. He has to be, here goes, going to sit down. It's like, he has to be, he has to work out with me. Like he wants to work out no matter what in the morning. He's waiting for me when I wake up. We had to go on a 21-day road trip for my company. So we take Willy and Jax with us everywhere we go. And we went to Greenville, South Carolina. No different. We woke up in the morning and did our workout in Greenville. And then at night, before we went to bed, we take him out for a walk, take him out to the bathroom.
But then I spotted this really cool bench and it obviously had to jump on it. From there, I ran down the hill like a professional athlete I am, and bam! My legs suddenly refused to touch the ground. I couldn't put it down, and my Ponce immediately started panicking.
And all of a sudden we saw him limping in that back right leg. Really weird. Nothing. I mean, other than he's 6, and you see sometimes and when he lays down at night, when he sits down, you can hear a little bit of like a groan. You can feel, kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Normal aging. I know I'm 55, and I feel kind of the same way sometimes
Same.
at night before I go to bed.
Okay. So did he let out a yipe and then you turned and saw something
No.
up, or just
No.
out of the blue, he just came?
Just
Okay.
Yeah, there was a bench there. There's a little sitting bench in Greenville right there downtown, and he's like a parkour dog, believe it or not. He loves to jump up on benches or any kind of elevation, any curbs. He likes to jump up on. So when he playing with Jax, he went over there to jump up on the thing. Before he jumped up, his right back leg was kind of hanging, and I've never seen that from him ever. Like he's been an extremely healthy dog.
So then right after the event, he was holding it up, or what we call toe touching a little bit, or describe how he was moving.
No, he was holding it up like he wouldn't put any pressure
Straight off the ground.
Straight off to happen. I thought it's almost like he stepped on a sand spur, because in Florida when you're on the beach, multiple times he stepped on a sand spur running on the beach, and then I pull up his paw and I pull the sand spur out and he's fine. Yeah. And my wife and I spent, half an hour examining him in the hotel room, trying to figure out, what it was. And he wouldn't put weight on it all that night.
Okay. Then slowly over the next few days, he started placing a little bit more weight. Were you giving him any medications then at that time, or not until you went and saw your veterinarian?
So it happened on a Sunday night. Monday morning, of course, my wife, we were in Greenville, first vet I could find. We took him to, got the x-ray immediately. And she immediately gave us the medication, the pain medication, the swelling medication, and told us to stay off it for 8 to 10 weeks. Just keep as much pressure as possible. It's hard to keep a border Aussie down this amount of time. So yeah, that's what she gave us and told us to do for now. We want to go back and get another X-ray probably in the next week or so. We called our vet now. We're just waiting to get an appointment.
Okay, gotcha. And so it was the right hind leg. We come off the bench, pull up a little bit. When we sit, were we sitting a little sloppy? Are we always kind of have a little sloppy kind of sit, or were we sitting pretty squarely? The sit, many a times, if they have discomfort in their feet and their ankle, we call it the hock, the knee, the hip. Sometimes their sit will be a little different. Did you notice anything in the sit?
No, not at all. I mean, he usually sits very, very, very direct. I mean, he knows when he's ready to work out. When I'm doing stretches or anything, he sits very, very up direct with me. So nothing until now. Of course, now after the injury, he's sitting. He leaves the weight off the right side when he sits down now.
Got it. But he seems a little bit more comfortable, or can you tell he's still favoring a little bit?
No, he isn't favored hardly at all. The problem is just keeping him down. Right. The best part is being on the road for 21 days. He spent a lot of time in the car. We've been keeping him to a very, very limited walk.
Okay.
Now we get back to Florida. The last 2 days, we have a pool in the backyard here, and he's been swimming for a few minutes, just me lightly swimming back and forth in the pool with him, just to get a little flexibility.
Got it. And so when your veterinarian, the veterinarian that you went to, they took the x-rays, we call them radiographs. You and I are going to look at those together. Right. Did they have any appreciation for any swelling, discomfort in the toes, the ankle, or what we call the hock, the knee, the hip, or were they just not sure? And if it was, tell me, kind of describe what they were feeling.
She said she thinks it's a very minor tear. She said she could tell by the swelling around the knee where it was, and she felt comfortable to say, "Hey, you got to wait, a few weeks when you get home. Go to the vet and get another X-ray to take a look at it, and then see how he does. Okay. If he won't put any pressure on it at all, then obviously the tear is much worse. He's sitting perfectly now. He's sitting perfectly straight. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out. And we're trying to make him light duty. But they just said it was the swelling. They could tell the swelling around the knee, and they could see that it was a minor tear.
My knee was not thrilled with my life choices that day.
Here's what's tricky. We have a breed that their job is work, sport. So they do everything 11 out of 10. Leg could fall off with this breed and they don't even know it, and they're still wanting to do agility, sheep herding, those types of things. So we run into that issue. Second issue, many times we're resting them. So to us, they're in the car traveling with you, they're in a plane, they're just kind of hanging out at home, leash walking. So between the how stoic we are of a breed and the fact that we're resting, that's the recipe for I feel fine, and so many times that's the case. And all of a sudden, as you slowly increase back to activity, you're like, I'm seeing it again. The good news is that there wasn't any gross instability, and we'll talk about that. So it was probably like a sprain. The problem is you don't know to what degree sprain. So you and I can be skiing, skis go this way, we go that way, and boom, our ACL tears. Or you could just be out for a hike and you step on a rock, you twist, and you get a little bit of a sprain to the knee. So you never really know what degree without, their rehab or the physical exam findings, which they did, the x-rays, which they did, and then sometimes even some advanced diagnostics. But you've done everything absolutely by the book so far. I'm going to show you your x-rays. Let's go ahead. I'll screen share if that's okay with you. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, one thing to add too. So we left on Sunday morning. That's when the incident happened. Friday, we had his yearly yearly checkup. So she laid him down and stretched him and went through all of his joints and said he's no discomfort whatsoever because she stretched all of his limbs and everything and no problem. So
good.
It was good. And again, that happened Friday before we left on Sunday. So there's no indication he wasn't. When my wife said she was stretching him and everything, there was no indication of any discomfort at all in any of his joints, which is great.
Perfect. And the thing that gets tricky is that you've heard of groin injuries as well, like soccer players, hockey players pulling their psoas. It's a hip flexor. It can look exactly like a knee. So we if it smells like a duck, looks like a duck, walks like a duck, but sometimes it's not the duck. And so many times veterinarians are like, oh, it must be the knee because it has a history. But a psoas, if they stretch their groin, which is very common in these guys, they'll pull up as well. So very, very similar kind of findings. So let me go ahead. I'm going to screen share here if that's okay. And we're going to bring up your x-rays and kind of go through this. Now, did they show you the x-rays when you met with them?
Yes. But again, I need your expert opinion because it's hard for me to.
Yeah, no, of course. Just going to bring those up here and then we'll go ahead and screen share.
In Greenville she was awesome. She spent at least a couple hours with him with the x-rays and just kind of checking him out. So we were blessed to have that opportunity there with her.
There we go. All right. So what we're looking at, I'm going to start with the hips. And the good news is when we look at hips, so this is us laying on our back and this is our spine right here. And these are our hips right here. It's kind of a ball and socket. And these are absolutely gorgeous. So when we talk about looking at hips, if we had hip arthritis or hip dysplasia, the ball wouldn't be sitting nice and tight in the socket here. We'd also kind of see some thickening of this area here or this area here. So what I can say is genetically, this dog is put together very, very well. Mom, dad, grandmom, all the one in the past. Hips look gorgeous. So we can rule out the fact that there's any hip arthritis or hip dysplasia. And for hips to look this good at this age, I don't think we have to worry long term. This is our spine. So these are what we call the vertebrae. Your spinal cord actually lives in here in this little area. And as we come down, we'd look for things, any kind of what we call arthritis or spondylosis. It's a term along here. There's no signs of that. And then these are little joints of our spine called the facets. And dogs can get some arthritis there as well over time, just from activity, jumping on and off of things. There is no signs of that either. So orthopedically, spine is amazing for our age. Hips are absolutely amazing for our age. This is our tail down here. So the tail's still working, just so you know, we're not having issues there. So now we go to the knee x-rays. I'm going to bring up the left. So when we look at an x-ray of the leg, so this is going to be our kneecap. You can see right here. This is the upper bone. This is the femur. The lower bone is the tibia. This right here is actually our Achilles tendon. This is our heel bone. We call it the calcaneus in a dog. So this would be our ankle or their hock. And then the toes are basically down here. So the knee itself is going to be this guy living right up in here. That little soft tissue structure is the tendon that goes from your kneecap down to your tibia. That's supposed to be there. But what we're looking for is any inflammation in this knee. And you're going to say, but this is the good knee while we're looking for inflammation in this knee. Well, it just so happens there's a little bit of gray in here. I don't know if you can see. It looks like fog or smoke that's living in here. And that's what we call inflammation, or the term is called effusion. And there's a little bit back here as well. And you're going to say, well, why in the world do I see that in the normal knee? And that can be a couple of things. It can just be, oh, this dog just has a little bit more fluid in the knee or effusion that we would typically see. It could be that it's related to compensation. So we see a lot of dogs, if they have an injury on one side, what are they doing? They're putting their weight over to the other side. That's loading that knee, and it's not uncommon for that to get a little puffy then, just from inflammation. The problem with that, though, is that if it goes a longer period of time, the opposite ligament, we call it the ACL on our knee, it's the CCL on their knee, says, whoa, guys, wait a minute, I can only carry this extra load for so long, and it will start to have issues. And so when we're talking about, ACL injuries in dogs or CCL, it's very, very common. It's the most common cause of hind limb limping in dogs worldwide. And when they injure one knee, the chance of the other knee having an injury is well over 50%. I think some studies now are showing as high as 75%. So it makes a little bit of sense that, oh, wait a minute, this knee may be taxing just a little bit, because of load from the other side. Now, we don't know that that other side is from a knee. Like we said, it could be the groin, could be, psoas strain, things like that. The other thing that can cause fluid on multiple joints, and I find this very commonly as I see dogs from around the country in Canada, is tick-borne disease. So Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Ehrlichia, anaplasm, Lyme disease. There's not a state in the United States that doesn't carry some sort of tick. And I even have people in New York City say, well, wait a minute. I live outside, my dog, or live inside, my dog hardly ever goes outside. It's never really in the grass. And I'm like, well, you did go to Central Park and you walked around. Yeah, but we have prevention. But there are ticks everywhere. And there are ticks on dogs that came in to visit from outside of New York City that the tick dropped off and all of a sudden it's on their dog. So that's one thing I always say to owners annually, just make sure you run tick titers to rule that out. But that can cause fluid in a knee that we think is the good knee, basically. So that's what we're looking at here is what we call the stifle on a dog, or the knee for us. So now we'll go to the one that's having some issues. There we go. So once again, when we look at this knee, here's our kneecap up here, our femur, tibia, the lower bone, our ankle or the hock, Achilles tendon, toes are down here. This is that tendon. But if you look in here, same thing. See the fog or smoke, that gray that's going on in there? That's more than we should see as well. So that's something that we would say, yep, there's increased effusion or increased inflammation in the knee. Now, in the knee that was injured, what in the world can cause that? There's a whole lot of things. So the first thing we all think about is the ACL. You and I are skiing, skis this way, we're going that way, and we tear the ligament called the CCL in a dog. There's also a ligament that goes the opposite direction called the PCL, or the posterior cruciate ligament. And in a lot of dogs, especially the sporting dogs, because 90% of what I see are sporting performance working dogs, they can just turn on a dime. They're like a Ferrari. They can do maneuvers that you don't see in many companion dogs. And they can actually injure other structures in the knee that we wouldn't commonly see in the companion dog. And that can be what we call the caudal cruciate or posterior cruciate. They can also tear their meniscus. So you've heard of people getting a meniscal tear. That's the little shock absorbers in their knee. It is possible for certain breeds of dogs and sport level dogs to spin in just a way or twist that they can actually tear their meniscus without tearing their ACL. So when the vet goes to feel the knee for any instability, they're like, whoa, this knee feels really solid, but they have some other structures that are torn in there. And there's other structures like a tendon. There's what we call the LDE. There's actually a tendon that lives in there, and they can strain that, and that can lead to joint inflammation. So there's so many things, and this is why I always say a diagnosis is so critical. So what we know is we have lameness in a knee and a hind limb. We know we have some inflammation in a knee, and we say, okay, well, we got that going on. What are the causes to that? So again, that's what we'll kind of walk through. But the good news is of both these knees, no arthritis. Again, for our age, our activity level, and the breed, both of these joints look absolutely spectacular. So if I was to say, how old is Willie, I'd say, oh, we're probably about a 2-year-old dog. I mean, you would never know that we're the age that we are. And age is not a disease. And the best thing you can do is exactly what you're doing. Exercise, motion. We just want to make sure this knee is able to continue that exercise and motion, so we're going to do a deeper dive. So does that help understand the x-rays? Yes,
100%. Thank you for the clarification, because again, I mean, he swims a lot in general. And he, like I said, he's been 18 national parks. He was in Central Park a few months ago. He's been everywhere. I mean, he's all over the country in the last year. So, which is great, but it does make sense when you talk about what they're exposed to.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
As dogs age, muscle loss can quietly steal mobility and quality of life. But what if science could help change that? Myos Muscle Formula with Fortitropin is an all-natural, science-backed ingredient shown to help build and maintain muscle while reducing muscle breakdown, with over a decade of research and real results. Because stronger muscles means more moments together. Myos, more time together.
And I think at this stage, what you're doing, you've put a check in every single box. And I think the next steps would be when you see your veterinarian, it sounds like you're seeing them fairly soon, they can feel that stifle again. What would be great is they can get new x-rays, just the side view, left and right. And then if you can send those to me, let me put my eyes on them and see if there's still that inflammation there. I would also have your vet run the tick panel. So I want them to do the Ehrlichia, Anaplasma, Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever, and Lyme's. That's titers that will go out to the lab. So once you have those back, I'd love to put my eyes on those. And then if they can get the x-rays, just tell your vet to feel free to email me or, even call or text it over to me. And we'll look at it together and say, where are we at with inflammation? If the inflammation's gone down, awesome. We just slowly build back over time our exercises and our activity. And if you see it come back again, then we say, okay, now it's time for an ultrasound or some other, what we call advanced diagnostics. If your veterinarian sends me the films and we all look at them together, we're like, we still have the same amount of inflammation we have now that we did then. We look better because we've rested, we've been on some non-steroidals or we're kind of chilling out a little bit. Then we say, before we go back to activity and we may injure it further, let's look at it. Let's take a peek, and that can be with ultrasound or other advanced diagnostics. For us, many times we will take that little needle and slide that in because I can see things. You're scuba diving, and it's 100% sensitive. So on CT, on MRI, and ultrasound, you're seeing gray. You're not seeing really those fibers. You saw with a scope, we can't miss it. But this isn't surgery. It's another diagnostic tool where you're taking something the size of a needle and being able to see those things.
Oh, wait, you're telling me there are needles involved? I thought we were just here for treats and compliments.
That's overkill right now because we haven't got even our follow-up. So I want you to do those things if you would. Send those over, and then we'll take a look and we'll circle back. In the meantime, what do? Leash walking. We got to keep active. If we don't, this is going to go crazy, especially with this breed. We're going to lose muscle mass. We're going to gain weight. That's the worst things we can be doing. So exercises, but controlled exercise. Walking is going to be important.
Walk on a leash and no running? I'm a border collie mix, doctor. Running is basically my personality.
The jumping off of furniture, we need to, try to minimize that right now.
No jumping off furniture? Have you seen my couch parkour skills? This is a serious lifestyle adjustment.
Tearing up and down the stairs, because I'm doing everything I can just until we can say, hey, that knee's okay. I just don't want it progressing to the point where you may need any intervention as far as surgery is concerned. And then slowly, hopefully, we can bring back. Supplement-wise, you're on some good stuff that you mentioned. The things I usually like, and again, I have no ties to any of these companies. I won't mention brands, but definitely your glucosamine chondroitins are good, but the avocado, soya, and saponifiables, your MSMs are really, really good. But the top of the pyramid is omega-3s. So in all the studies of longevity for animals and for humans, omega-3s, the fat, fish oils, have been shown to not only help with joint inflammation and arthritis, but cognitive function, cardiovascular disease, GI health. I mean, omega-3s have been shown on numerous longevity podcasts on the human side to have great benefit in peer-reviewed studies as well on the human side. So definitely what I would encourage you to do is talk to your veterinarian about adding in definitely the omega-3s. And the only other product, as we get older and we have injury, there is a definite possibility we'll lose some muscle mass. So in dogs that I see that are active dogs with an injury or dogs that are losing muscle mass post-surgery or getting older, there's a product called Myos, which is a muscle formulation. It's a muscle supplement, a very good product for dogs that have had some sort of condition or injury because I want to maintain their muscle mass to the best of my ability. So that's a whole lot to unpack, I know. I'm going to be quiet now and just answer some questions for you.
No, perfectly clear. I actually do omega-3 myself every morning. So I know I'm kind of trying to copy what he does. So yeah, the Myos, we've already are working with someone, I think, to get that very soon. Exercise wise, he's only doing a leash. How long? Because him and I would wake up, stretch, and run probably 1.5 to 2 miles every morning. Obviously, we're walking him on a leash, not even a quarter mile. Is that too much, or what's your recommendation on walking and swimming?
No, it's perfect. So what you were doing pre-injuries, I love it. That's absolutely perfect. Right now, I think your walking's fine. You're on a leash. We're going out there. We're walking down the block, maybe a little short, half a mile is totally fine. He'll tell you, but sometimes they don't. This breed will be like, hey, you know what? I am so good. Let me off lead because I'm going to chase that critter. And so on lead is important, which you're already doing. But they also will tell you if all of a sudden you start noticing, there's a shortened stride when we're sitting, we're kind of sloppy sitting a little bit. That's an indication it's bothering us. So I think your short quarter of a mile right now is good. Go out multiple times a day is good as well. I just want to maintain that muscle mass and, maintain the range of motion. And then we'll have some answers fairly quickly. You should be able to get that x-ray, it sounds like, with your veterinarian,
2 weeks, you should have that done.
Yeah. And then as soon as you have that, send it off to me and we'll see where we are. Also, and again, you'll get a copy of the telemedicine notes that we're doing here. I'll ask him to pull some blood work for a tick panel as well.
And then swimming wise, so again, we have access to a pool. We're in Florida. We're at the beach at least once a week. Swimming wise, is okay to in the pool just let him swim for a few minutes, or is that, do you think that's not good or bad in your opinion for just like not jumping off the? Because before he would jump off the high side of the pool, the water, grab a stick, grab a ball, and go back in. So, what's your recommendation on swimming?
It's interesting, and with swimming, it's great for cardiovascular. It's great for core strength. It's great for building up the hind limb as far as post-injury. The only thing we worry about is the shear forces in the knee if there is any degree of instability. So what I would say is, because we're walking, we're doing the other exercises, I'm okay with that, but I would hold off. It's a short period of time between now and the time you get the x-ray. I would hold off on the swimming right now just until we get that x-ray. And as long as the inflammation is down, we're going to go right back to swimming again. Yeah.
Yeah, good. He just loves to swim. So he does surf. We did three dog surfing competitions last year, which are April, May, and June. So we're gonna have to go as a influencer and help other dogs, support other dogs. We're not going to be surfing, I don't think, this year.
So what are my next steps, Doc? I need to get back to my full-time duties as chief dog officer for DOGTV, and my Instagram fans are starting to miss my adventures.
I'd like to make sure the walks are great. We're going to hold off a little bit on swimming right now, just until your vet has a chance to take a feel and get the x-rays. They'll get the x-rays, send them over to me. Tick titers. Ticks don't all of a sudden just cause it to pull up, but because there is the inflammation in the other knee and you travel and you hike, I just want to rule out that could be an issue. So when they get those results back, send them over and we'll talk about that as well. And if everything looks good, we slowly increase activity. If that inflammation is still there, we may talk about either going into a more formal rehab program or should we find out a little bit more about what's going on with that knee? Videos are huge. So the video you sent before was super helpful of us short striding. Capture videos. I encourage everybody at home, video your dog. Normal motion, slow motion, going up and down stairs. So you see a baseline. So if you think something down the road's up, you'll be like, I'm going to get a new video. And then you can compare. It's just like I do with the gate mat. I want to be able to compare. Data's king. So we want to make sure we can objectively look at your dog's form, structure and function. And then the supplements, you're on omega-3s.
Yep.
Getting Willy on omega-3 is going to be absolutely a great idea.
Yeah, the good news is because Willy's a full-time social media dog, so they're videoed every day of some kind of activity. Now, podcasts and stuff like that. But yeah, we do videos of Willy pretty much every day, which has been great. Now we were able to go back and look at some of the running strides he did in the past to see where he is now. So it's pretty obvious to us.
I have to go to Willy's page and start to follow. I'm a fan. Now I'm a fan now that I had a chance to stalk on Instagram right before we jumped on, and oh my Lord.
Yeah, they're funny videos. We want to be educational and entertaining for all of our followers. That's kind of my wife's goal at her channel.
And that's the same with this. I think that's why I love doing these, and I'm blessed to have people like you willing to record these types of activities, because it's my way of giving back, not only to owners like you are, so we can educate, but also to the veterinary community. There's a lot of veterinarians that just aren't as familiar with all these other conservative, holistic approaches to some of these injuries. So I like to give back just like you guys are.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. So Sherman Canapp here with Canine Longevity and the Athletic Dog. And I look forward to following your athletic dog.
Good girl, Fachi.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.